We always start from the very beginning. What was life like for you growing up? What was childhood like? And what was high school years like for you?
So growing up in the middle of nowhere, I was born and raised in Iowa. So, a small town of 800 people. Always into mischief. Back when you could come home with light when the street lights come on, you went home. No cell phones. You just ran the town. So back then, my mom was actually a real estate agent in Iowa. So
Okay.
going to the town where she worked was 30 minutes away. I got to spend a lot of time playing the Game Boy, sitting in the back seat of a car while she showed a house. So that's my younger years. And then growing up into high school, I came to Ohio. So then at that point, I was in Amanda, Ohio. Not much bigger of a town, but closer to Lancaster and Columbus. So there's a lot more to
Yeah.
do. Yep.
Yeah. I'm curious because I've had a couple agents on here um, whose parents were in the business, and usually it's one way or the other. It was like there was no way I ever wanted to get into this business, or it was I really enjoyed watching my mom or my dad in the business and what real estate activities they were doing. Where did you fall in the beginning? Obviously, we know now you're in the business, but growing up.
Honestly, in the beginning, I really didn't think too much about it. I mean, it was her life, her way of providing for us. So I I really didn't give it too much thought. I mean, being a young kid, it was annoying. I didn't like waiting around. I got drugged to the office and drawing on the whiteboard and eating the sugar cubes by the coffee back then. I mean, that's just what we did. I didn't know any better.
Yeah, yeah. Any hobbies or play sports growing up?
Growing up, I did about every sport. So, big into soccer. Did a little bit of football, some baseball, some track. I'm not a track star. I'm not a basketball star. I'm not a football star. Um, now I like to ski with my kids. So my
Yeah.
kids love soccer, and we like to go skiing together.
No, that's awesome. What after high school, did you end up going to college or just jump into the career field?
So actually, I did go to hockey college for a little bit, and then I got out, and I turned a 2 year degree into. I believe it took me 8 years to get my associates.
Okay.
So
What
between
originally Yeah, what originally were you wanting to go to college for?
So I was going for business management. Deep down, I really wanted to be a police officer, and I should have just went for that. But you know, you're young and you don't know any better. So I went to hockey for business management, and that's actually what I got my bachelor or my associates and my bachelor's in was business administration. So
Okay. No, and you said that kind of took you 8 years to complete. Was it just school wasn't for you, or was it more just life happened, things happened, and you just kind of had to put some things on the back burner?
life happened. So actually, I started at Hawking doing business management, and when I moved out to Iowa to work for my dad's company, and I started doing industrial engineering and drafting. So
Wow.
I changed majors, and then I realized that wasn't for me. I'm not an AutoCAD kind of guy. So then I went back into business classes. Then I jumped careers, moved, had a kid, jumped careers, moved back to Ohio. Then I continued on the easiest path, which was business management at Hawking again for the second time and finally got my degree. And then I went on for my bachelor's at Ohio Christian University for business administration.
What were you always just interested in business in general? Growing up, like I I mean, when I went to college, I always say I was probably one of the last um generations where it was like college was still that thing that you had to do in order to get a good job. You know what I mean? I think in today's world, it's a little bit viewed a little bit differently, where you don't necessarily need that degree. Um, but it's always hard at 18, 19 years old to determine what the hell you want to do with the rest of your life.
Oh yeah,
But was business something always that interested you, or
it was. Um, my dad's always had his own business. My mom, she's always been self-employed. So it's always been that inkling of, how hard can you challenge yourself? And if you want to challenge yourself, I don't think there's too many greater ways than being your own boss, because if nobody's going to call you at 8 a.m. saying, "Are you showing up for work today?" It's you put in the grind and you show up and you show up and you show up again. And it's funny because like you see the memes where they say, "Oh, I wanted to, make my own schedule and be my own boss and make what I want, but now I end up working 7 days a week and I'm putting in more hours than I would have if I just worked for
Yeah.
someone." So
Yeah.
it's true. So I mean, I I think I would be. I always thought I would have been like a good truck driver. Like I enjoy driving, um, but also that would be the same monotonous thing that I can't handle. But just the thought of it sounds fun. And there's other jobs I applied to get into, to change careers, and it just didn't work out. I didn't get hired. You know, um,
Yeah.
for one instance was I think I applied to be like a lineman, doing electrical work outside. Didn't get the job, for the training and stuff. So I didn't get in that career. So you just kind of follow the path, and I was open to anything, and it's just here's where I am.
Yeah. It's always interesting, how many of the when we actually look back, and that's the thing about why I love this type of content from a real estate agent standpoint is because, the majority of people, this isn't their first career choice. It's usually second, third, fourth, fifth. Sometimes it just falls into our lap and things like that. But, you know, I don't think a lot of agents actually reflect on the journey. We think about it, but we don't actually reflect on the journey and how those opportunities could have changed your life and the trajectory of your life, completely different. If one of those, job opportunities actually stuck, and said, "Yep, come on board." For me, it was going to Ohio State and failing calculus. That's my story. I went for accounting, had to take calculus and absolutely bombed it, which then made me, switch my degrees and then realized that what I went to school for wasn't what I wanted to do and didn't like the pay scale at the beginning. so so
Yeah.
then real estate happened. But in the moments it's always tough, right, to take those losses and things like that. But it led us to here. So, Chris.